Hi, Jay. Thank you for joining the session today. How are you?
I'm could be better, but I am good right now.
Okay,
Thank you for
cool.
asking.
Okay, cool. Glad to hear it. Well, hopefully we can get you some answers today and find you some clarification and at the very least, feeling better towards the end of the session. So can I just ask how old you are?
I am 33 years old.
Okay, and the age of your ex?
My ex is 34, turning 34 this year.
Okay, and how long were you guys together?
Um, I think almost 6 years, around that 5 to 6 years.
6 years. Okay, and when did you guys break up?
I would say like 6 months ago or five. No, yeah, 6 months ago.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. Right. Okay. That's all the information I need from you right now. So I'm going to stay quiet now. I'm going to hand this over to you. So for the first 30 minutes or
Mhm.
so, I just want you to tell me your story, what happened, what you're struggling with, what you need help with. So just start from wherever you feel is necessary. I may ask a few questions here and there just for context purposes, but I'm going to largely stay out of this part of the conversation. Second part of the conversation, I'll tell you what I think. We'll talk about it and we'll try and find you some answers. So, with all that said, how can I help you?
Okay, so I think mostly my purpose of um, reaching out to you is more on one side of my moving on from my ex. We'll get to that. But just to give a bit of a context and story. Yeah, we broke up 6 months ago, and it was because of we were in a long distance relationship, but we have seen each other. The reasons were because the distance was getting hard for the both of us, and I accepted that. Since then, for the I guess 5 months, um, we actually, I mean, I did take some time away from him, but I guess not enough. We were we were also best friends, so like I guess we tried to save that part too. So we stayed in touch, and then but the feelings were still there, and then there are times that we, he would open up and say that um he still, thinks that we can end up together once we get past our issues. So there's a back and forth there going on. But eventually it drained us rather, and um, I guess we didn't really heal from the breakup and whatever else that we did wrong. Um, and then we're going to this part where I actually need help with is on top of the moving on part. He was mutually, I mean, emotionally attached to me um, only, I guess, a month ago when he said, like, okay, I don't think this is gonna, work. It was because of some um, argument that we had. Um, and then he was pretty much detached, although we still talk, but I felt the shutting down. And then I guess a few weeks later, I found out about a girl. And yeah, she's very similar to me. The fact that he chose someone long distance and from here. And then so I was really like rattled and frustrated. Like everyone who knew about it was like shocked. So then I looked at articles. I eventually stumbled upon Love Fix and also talked to my friends, and they're like, he's in a rebound. And then I guess in a span of a week, like from knowing it, it's like he didn't exactly like put all the cards on the table. I think when I was like looking for answers, and also some of my friends did tell me that he was like in like a honeymoon phase, and after 2 weeks, they made it official, and then he went on social media public, which he's never done before, and things like that. And then just lately, like I cut him off after knowing about the girl because I couldn't really take it. No contact. But we have like, I mean, he tried to like reach out to me. Couldn't get why I cut him off, I guess. And then and then the last thing that I found out was actually he was the one who reached out to my friend because I asked for my stuff back through my friend, and then there was a bit of a weird interaction there. He got mad that I asked my friend about it. But then that's over, and then getting to that last day, which was just a day ago, I think. He asked my friend, our mutual friend, to tell me if that he can bring my stuff to my house when he gets here. And I guess his intentions or whatever is different. I guess he's just being stupid or whatever. But to me, that was just saying, oh, after a few months, he's already made plans to move to see the girl, and he hasn't actually visited me due to like understandable circumstances. But it was a blow to me. Like, he's doing all these things that like it's so fast and it's just a whirlwind. And like I've seen your videos and I've taken, like my friend says, they basically ace the rebound. If there's a list of rebound, what makes a rebound, they ace it. But it's just handling. I kind of want it not to depend on it and being rebound and just think that it could just be a normal relationship. But it's just these different like factors that make like give me unbearable pain sometimes. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think so. On top of moving on, essentially, this rebound is really hard to watch, even though I distance myself. It's just, yeah.
No.
A
Okay.
little too much. Mhm.
Yeah. No, I understand. And
Mhm.
yeah, it sounds heartbreaking, Jay. It really does. And I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that. I can only imagine the level of anxiety that you're going through right now. So I guess my first question was, and I apologize if I missed this, and maybe it might be my fault, but I just wanted to clarify what was the exact reason for the breakup. So he's the dumper, yeah?
He is the dumber.
Okay, so what was the exact reason he gave for dumping?
The main reason was, although we did talk about it, more about it, moving forward, but the main reason was the distance. And I think that it wasn't clear back then that it was the distance with me, that it was me that he had a problem with. Like, we couldn't work between us. But for me back then, it was distance because he was saying stuff like, I don't think I can do long distance. He's not cut out for it. Like, it's just, yeah. So that's why this is a blow to me. Like the whole distance, like he's suddenly in a distance relationship with someone from here. That's it.
Was it so you guys were together for 6 years? Was it always long distance for that 6 years?
Yeah, we met each other through not on a dating site, but in a game that we play.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. So how much distance are we talking here?
He lives in the UK and I'm from the Philippines.
Okay, right. So he's British and you're in the Philippines. Okay, that's quite a significant distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. So something's happened because
Mm,
people don't do long distance for 6 years, then it all of a sudden becomes a burden. I mean, I guess it's possible. I guess it's like
mm,
the reference I can make to it. It's like having a job that you have to travel very far to get to, maybe like 2-3 hours a day, and one day
yeah,
it's like, okay, I've had enough. But I mean,
yeah.
we can't compare a relationship to a job. That's apples and oranges. So,
Okay.
when was the last time that you physically saw each other?
Uh, it was before COVID. I went there and I spent like a month.
So,
Um,
so we're talking
yeah,
2020.
yeah. I
Okay,
think it
that's a
was
lot.
actually end of 2019.
End of 2019. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
how many times did you see each other in 6 years?
That was actually the first physical time. Unfortunately, COVID hit. We were supposed to see each other. I mean, we planned to, but then COVID
Mm.
hit and it went on for like 2, 3 years. So yeah.
Okay, so you only saw each other once in the entire relationship.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so all right, this is I think this is going to be a very fascinating discussion because I've
Mhm.
out of everybody I've coached, and I've coached people with long distance, but I don't think I've actually coached anybody quite with your circumstances. So this is going to be
Mhm.
an interesting one. So let's try and dig a little bit deeper
Sure.
into him. Okay, so let's go back maybe 2 months before the breakup. Did you notice any changes in communication, in affection, anything like that? Did you sense anything was off?
Not really. To better term it, I was blindsided. We were like, I guess actually it was like maybe the day or days before that we had an argument. And just to give context, I guess I didn't really put this there. We had also different issues. Our relationship was hard to begin with. He was coming from, I was his first long distance relationship. And when we started, he didn't really believe in it. And then he also came from a long term one. And yeah, I don't know if that's of any significance. So we
Okay.
didn't meet at the right time. There were circumstances. So it was hard from the start. And I guess eventually, like we had really, like we were happy, but I guess with our personalities and the way we deal with distance was also a big issue. Um, we didn't make it any easier. To better summarize it, it was this long distance is hard enough, but I guess we didn't make it easier for ourselves because of our personalities, dealing with, I guess, like arguments or things like that. I have my shortcomings. I We have been very honest and vocal about like our issues with each other. So I think when he broke up with me in distance, I know that it has like I know it's not really just that. It was just the um like my when my flaws get over out of control, and yeah, it makes the long distance more complicated, and also his flaws and stuff like that. That's it.
Okay.
So yeah, to give it more context, I guess.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit more about the differences that use referencing to there? So you're
Mhm.
saying that you're having challenges resolving arguments, and yeah, you're right. Everyone's got their shortcomings. Everyone's got their stuff that
Yeah,
we need to deal with. That's absolutely fine. We're human at the end of the day.
yeah,
So what would a typical argument look like? How would you resolve a typical argument?
yeah. Okay, so I think at the end it got, I guess, bad because it was. This isn't our first breakup, by the way. So I
Not
think that's also significant. I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah.
no.
Um,
How many breakups have you had with
just
this
the
guy?
two.
Okay. Okay.
This is yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. Yep.
Um, yeah, where was I? Yeah. In terms of the differences, I think the most essential is with their personalities. I'm very like emotional and vocal with feelings. His love language is more of actions, so that kind of clashes. We're also both stubborn. That's not a difference, but that also didn't go well with the arguments when it's heightened. And yeah, I think that made it um, uh, harder, and especially for him. I saw the difference when we were together physically. Like he was like, I know that he tries a lot, and but there are like things that I would be upset about. But for him, it's like, I mean, not for him, but essentially, I shouldn't have the. It was, I guess, it would have just been easier to just hug it out, if you know what I mean. That's
Mhm.
most of the arguments we had. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's that. And I think it's also because um we're also like each other's best friends. So whenever we have problems with each other, we had like we still I had other friends to talk to, but you know, we ended up like kind of just telling each other everything. And I guess the space that we needed, or the time that we needed to to just to take a breather and stuff, for just a really intense arguments. We didn't. I don't know. I'm just kind of listing down whatever I can think of. But
Mm.
yeah, that's why I think that our biggest differences when handling arguments. It doesn't happen all the time.
Mm.
Half the time we could easily handle it. Um, but yeah, I think my overthinking, and then yeah, I'm also an overthinker, so that gets in the
Mm.
way. That makes things complicated.
Yeah.
And he's more of a black and white guy.
Mm.
So the
Yeah.
difference is kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. It would seem that, and as you pointed out, long distance is hard enough. And given that you've only seen each other physically once in 6 years, that is already going to put a massive strain on any kind of relationship, and probably more so for a guy than a woman. Because I dare say, I mean, look, both men and women both want physical interaction, both want sex, but I
Yeah.
dare say it's probably higher on the list of priorities for a man than it is for a woman.
Yeah.
But still,
I'm
not
aware.
being able to not being able to see each other physically
Hmm.
is always going to
Hmm.
put a strain on that relationship. So, what I'm thinking of at the moment, is it a possibility that you two were escaping your individual lives with each other? So you became each other's emotional dumping grounds. Do you think that might be true?
During the relationship,
Yeah.
can you explain that?
Yeah. So
Escape from the lives.
yeah. So escaping from your day to day. So like you're having a bad day or whatever, and
Mhm.
something's not going right. You'll go and just tell him what's going on, and vice versa. It'll do the same. So without that physical interaction, I think what may have happened here, Jay, is that you become you become each other's emotional dumping grounds.
Mhm.
No, it's just look, I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. I could be completely wrong with this, but
Mhm.
I think it's good practice to ask these questions and actually think about these
Yeah.
possibilities. And
Yeah.
okay, so what kept me here for 6 years? Because I know from experience, and I know from coaching many people
Mhm.
now, most people would not have stayed in a 6 year long distance relationship and only saw each other once. Now, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
COVID happened, but that was only 2 years.
Mhm.
So you've got
Mhm.
4 years of all right. So let's take COVID out of it for a second and just say, okay, we see
Yeah.
each other once in 4 years. Now, okay, I get it. It's a massive distance. The plane tickets to the Philippines are quite expensive from the UK. So
Yeah.
it's not something you can do all of the time. So I guess the question that I've got to ask you is, why so forget about him for a second. Why did you stay
Mhm.
in a 6-year relationship where there was no, well, let's say progression? Because without physically being there and doing things with each other,
Yeah.
it's very hard to move something forward. We're talking, just having dates, the potential of
Hmm.
marriage, kids,
Yeah.
physical intimacy, just going for a walk, cinema, just doing normal boyfriend girlfriend stuff. So
Hmm.
I guess that's my question. So what kept you there for 6 years?
Um, like I said, it was our relationship was unique. The first year, he was, I think, still dealing with. He lived with his ex, so he had to move out and all that. And the ex was a big part of his life, and all the family and the friends are part of it. So that's
How long?
I
How long
wasn't
did he?
like
Sorry, how long did he live with his ex? Yeah, while he was with you,
how long did he live?
with his ex, whilst being with you,
I guess half of that year. So
just for 6 months. Yeah.
yeah, 6 months. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So um and then he moved out. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to your question. I think it's because it wasn't like for me, for the both of us, we know that we wanted to be with each other, and already had plans to migrate. We talked about it and stuff. Just not just the excuse me, the visits, but like eventually living with each other.
So
But
you was
yeah,
planning to move to the UK.
yeah,
Okay.
but it wasn't really for him. I was already planning to move there um, before I met him.
Hmm.
But yeah, I got hit. I was delayed and with COVID. COVID was 2 years, but when COVID hit, I basically left my other job, which I had for years. And I think COVID was really bad for me in a sense that, it hit my mental health
Mm,
and everyone that I lived with. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's just a hard recover for myself if we're just gonna talk about me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, so there is always like a plan, basically. I didn't like thank you for asking. No one would, no one would just want like a long distance relationship without seeing each other. We always wanted, like, we made a plan to want to see each other.
Mm,
But let's put him back to the equation. Like for his side, he was in debt for so long and still paying for the house for so long, and then a lot of loans, and I understood that. I was also not really, financially ready yet, and um, yeah, so we just really, it just got delayed and delayed and delayed, but the plan was there. And thank you actually for pointing this out, because that might be it. But that's the reason though I stayed, really. And that's, I think, what he stayed for, because we wanted it to end up in, that way, that we were together. We didn't want it, the setup of being in the far away from each other, like permanently. Yeah, that's
mm.
it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like. I mean, look, even the best of relationships are challenging at the best of times. So it sounds like, the environment of this relationship, the distance being the biggest one, and obviously you got the finances on top of that as well.
Yeah.
And then there's COVID and everything else that comes with that. And then you've got day-to-day stresses on top of that. It just seems like the the setup was never optimal. It was like, you know, it was going to be very, very challenging to make this work.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what's the biggest thing you're struggling with at the moment?
I guess the rebound. I would, and I'm not going to say the moving on isn't hard because it is already to begin with, but the knowing the rebound was the big frustration. It gives me big frustrations. Even knowing that it's a rebound, it just makes me question myself and my pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that, and look, I don't want you to. I mean, I'm going to say, you know, I was about to say don't feel bad, but obviously you're going to feel bad. So I don't want to say that. I don't want to tell you how to feel. You feel how you feel, and that's always okay. But the important thing to realize about rebounds, it's that's never a reflection of you or the victim of the rebound. It's a reflection of the person doing the rebounding. Okay. Now, I would say that this one's probably a little bit unique because assuming that he's been a faithful boyfriend and he's only been, you know, with you, so he hasn't had. And again, this is probably more true for men than it is women. And I'm not saying this doesn't include women, because, you know, women like to be hard kissed and made to feel like a woman, and that's fine. But he's been without the physical touch of his girlfriend for 6 years, and that goes for you as well. Now, I'm not trying to make allowances for him, but so the rebound could be slightly different in this case, because typically rebounds are typically emotional. It's where am I emotionally? That's what a rebound really is. But this might be like a physical rebound, because if he hasn't had physical intimacy for 6 years, that could be it. So it might just be someone that, okay, you know, she looks nice, and, you know, maybe he doesn't connect with her on the same level that he's connected with you. Now, he's stuck around for 6 years, so you guys obviously had something there. So that's what it could be, and maybe that, maybe that's it. And maybe, look, without evidence to anything else, we have to take it at face value that long distance just doesn't work for him anymore. And that's maybe, unless you've got anything else to tell me about him or anything else that you suspected of him, then it just leaves me with the conclusion that it just stopped working for him. And that's typically what happens in any relationship, really. Something stops working for that person, and it's not something that happens overnight. It's normally a build-up of weeks, months, even years sometimes, where it stopped working. And I've even had clients tell me before, they checked out 2 years ago, but they stayed with that person because they thought they would change, or things would get better, or they stayed with the kids, or whatever it might have been. But then when you really dig into it, they stopped loving that person like 2 years ago almost. It's like, wow, why did you stay around for so long? So I guess that's what we'll just have to, you know, accept for now. But I get the feeling that you've had this person in your life for 6 years. I'm assuming that you spoke to each other every day almost. I'm assuming
every day.
Yeah, and you've had this connection with this person, and that's gonna, when all of a sudden when that's taken away and he's given that energy to someone else, that's gonna sting, and that's gonna really hurt. And, you know, and I'm sorry to hear that you're having to experience this at the moment. So what do you think about that so far?
I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's a good reminder to me.
And and I dare say that sometimes, Jay, relationships just end. Some of them are not meant to go the distance. So I guess let me ask you this: how many boyfriends have you had in your adult life?
I would say around four.
4. Okay. Okay, so we're assuming somewhere, you know, between like the ages of 20 to where you are now, which is 33.
33.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the longest relationship you've ever had? Not this one. Not this one.
Oh.
I'm talking, not this one, before that.
I think close to 3 years. They're pretty much similar, like after 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Were they all long distance?
No, some of them are from here. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the longest you've been single?
Good question. Less than a year. Sorry, I haven't counted.
Okay, so
yeah, 6-7 months, let's say. Not this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Cool. Right. So, taking away the normal bad feelings that we get from any breakup, and the anxiety and the heartbreak that comes with that, and the withdrawal symptoms, that feeling of loss, you really haven't had much time exploring who you are and exploring what single life is like. I mean, really exploring it. Now, for me to what I would say to people to really explore single life, I'll say that's like a minimum of 2 years of understanding who you are and what you want and what you're about. Now, the reason I made reference the reason I made reference to before, where my theory was that you were using each other to escape your normal day-to-day life, using each other as an emotional dumping grounds. Now, I'm not. Again, I'm not. I know that sounds like a bad term, but what I mean by that, I'm not saying that in a toxic fashion, but it's like he's there to validate you, you're there to validate him, and it's purely emotional validation because you can't validate each other physically. So it was purely an emotional validation, and auditioning that person to make the pain go away, kind of thing. So you haven't had the time to develop that part of yourself of understanding what it's like to be single, understanding what it's like to, okay, what do I do now? Who am I? Because after 6 years of, after 6 years of being with someone in this fashion, it's going to be kind of challenging to, okay, who am I? What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I know about myself? What do I do now?
Yeah.
So that's maybe some of the questions that we need to tackle. Maybe some of the questions that need to be asked is like, okay, why have I only been single for 6 months of my adult life? Now I'm not saying that we have to tackle that right now. It's just a question that's probably worth investigating further down the line. Is that, do I have a problem being single? And now I guess, I know this has kind of gone off on a tangent a little bit with the actual breakup, but part of the healing process and part of like understanding why you feel the way you feel and how to, start to move on from that is to ask these questions. Okay, what does single life now look like? Because look, it's difficult enough to reconcile when you're within a few miles of each other. It's going to be close to impossible with that amount of distance. So, and this is the brutal part of the conversations that I think, I don't think it will reconcile, and I don't think it's worth it, because unless one of you actually move to the country that you're in, this is just it's a fool's errand. It's just never going to work. Now, also, here's the other thing. Let me ask you this: what does a relationship look like to you? What is a relationship? What are your criteria for a relationship?
That's okay. Can't answer that right away.
That's okay. Take your time. It's okay.
It's like a loaded question.
Oh yeah, and that's part of my job, is to get you thinking, is to look at this from a different look at this from a different angle. It's not, ultimately, look, the sessions that I have, it's I never have a coaching session with someone with the aim of getting their ex back. It's with the aim of getting you back. And we have to ask these questions. So, okay, let's ask the questions that haven't been asked. So
Nice.
if you was to give me 3 key things that you need from a relationship, what would they be?
First one is to be able to share life together without, share life together. Second one is to grow together, but also individually.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, I guess just being in love, but not as just partners, but just as more than that, like just making things work and not having to depend on each other so much, but appreciating, the person, the company.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
these
So
are the things I can think of.
cool. Okay, so then does long distance meet your criteria for a relationship?
Uh, Not at first. I think, I think it's possible to have those. Not it's a long distance. Like I said, for me, long distance is always like for temporary. Um, if I want to be with a person, or if I want to be with together and have a future together, then that's where we're gonna put an end to it being a long distance eventually.
Okay,
Yeah,
so right there
it just
you've
makes
kind of,
everything harder.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So I guess right there you've kind of answered the question. You kind of answered the problem that you've
Mm,
been having. So I think, so if we are to give your ex the benefit of the doubt, if we're to say, right, okay, look,
yeah.
we don't have, the only evidence that we have right now is that he
Mm,
cited long distance for the breakup. Okay, maybe there were some other things behind the end, and you
yeah.
mentioned about the way you guys argue. So and it's to quote Mark Manson, who's one of my favorite authors. It's not a case of when you fight, it's how you fight in a relationship. It's how you resolve
Yep.
that particular
Yeah.
situation. But going back to the long distance thing, so you basically said there, okay, long distance is okay as long as we're making steps and making plans for it to not be long distance anymore. So
Yeah.
here's the thing, Jay. You had 6 years to sort that out.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So what that conversation should be looking like at the start of it is, hey, look,
Mm-hmm.
within 6 months, maybe 12 at the maximum,
Mm-hmm.
we need to be living closer to each other. So I
Yeah.
guess one of the fundamental problems that I'm seeing here, there was that you had a plan in place, but it wasn't, and again, this is going to be the brutal part, wasn't really a plan, because if you both were serious about making that plan happen, you would have made it happen within the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Now that's easy for me to say. So let me just climb down off of my high horse for a little bit and just validate you here. Okay, I get it.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I get it.
It makes sense.
There's financial stuff and there's all the other stuff that comes with it. I get it, but you have to be realistic. It's a case of, right, okay, if we haven't solved this in 12 months, okay, let me be fair. Let's say 2 years, given the vast distances between you two. So now here's the thing, right? Just give you an example. My older brother, he's married to a Filipino lady. Okay. Now it was a case, like, okay, right. He got married with her and got her over to the UK, and but I think they did all that within 18 months. So
Yeah.
that's and like my brother's not very very financially well off, and neither is his wife,
Yeah.
but they made it work.
They made it work. Yeah.
They got it. So what's happened here, I think, has been the lack of action over the 6 years.
Mm, mm,
It sounds like you both got too comfortable with the way things are or were
mm,
in this,
mm.
and that is a relationship killer. That's complacency,
Yeah.
being too
Makes
comfortable.
sense.
That
Mm,
will kill any relationship. Now,
yeah.
relationships should be comfortable, but growth, real true growth, is
Mm,
the pursuit of the truth, no matter where it takes you. It's okay, this doesn't work anymore. So we need to leave this buried, and we're going to move on to this next bit where we're both going to level up and we're both going to get to this next level.
Yeah.
Now, I would dare say, like, maybe he wasn't getting off his ass and sorting out his finances. That's his problem.
Yeah.
Maybe you wasn't getting off your ass. Okay, how do I get to the UK? How do I make this? How do I speed things up?
Yeah.
So what you said earlier about, we was waiting for the right time and getting things sorted. It's never going to be the right time.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and the reason I'm telling you this now is because it's not to make you feel bad or anything like that. It's just like when you do have, future relationships, when you do move on and you start dating someone new, hopefully at least in the same country that you are, that complacency can still come in. It's, we're going to get married, but we're going to do it in 5 years. And it's like, well, that's never going to happen. So actions always speak louder than words, and again, another Mark Manson quote, actions never lie and words don't mean shit. So getting back to what he's doing, respond to his actions accordingly. If that's what what he's doing, that's it. Wish him well, and don't wish him anything, but just wish him well in your head. Okay, that part of my life is done now. So, and I think, I think you just had a perfect storm. Well, a very big storm here, Jay, and it's reached this crescendo. It's come to its climax, its peak, and to be honest, if he hadn't have pulled the trigger, I think maybe you would have done sooner or later down the line. Because let's just say, you're at a work party or you're at a friend's house or at work and you meet a guy that you have no intention of getting with because you're a loyal girlfriend, but he's there. He does a lot of the same things that your ex does, makes you laugh. He's got the same hobbies, similar hobbies, he's interesting, he's good looking, you feel great around him. And you might be thinking, right, okay, well, he's here. I really like this guy. I love my boyfriend, but he's not making any effort to get here, or vice versa. So what I try to encourage people to do, flip the script in your head and, okay, what if you were the dumper in this particular, what if you were dumped him for the same reasons? Would you be feeling the way you feel now? So what do you think that the answer to that question might be? Do you think if you had dumped him and you had met this new mythical guy that I just described, do you think you'd be having the same feelings right now?
No, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's probably true. Now, I'm not trying to take away from how you feel, but how he feels is how he feels, and that's okay. How you feel is how you feel, and that's also okay. So now the question is how do we deal with how you feel? How do we start moving on? How do we get through the anxiety? Now, here's the thing. Look, you've been broken up 6 months, and 6 months from 6 years is not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time. This is probably going to hurt for quite some time. But I promise you, it will be okay. You're going to be okay. And there's a big wide world out there. And so let's look at some of the more tangible things that we can do to get you on the path to recovery. So since the breakup, what have you been doing? So what do you do for a living?
I work in marketing and administration. So
okay, cool. And is everything okay on that front? You're able to support yourself and work's okay and everything?
Yeah, just steady.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So finances are okay. So we haven't got to worry about that too much. Okay. So outside of work, what are you doing?
Socialize and spend time with my family.
Okay. So what kind of socializing? Good. Okay. So what kind of socializing are you doing?
Hanging out with my friends as much as possible.
Okay.
Depending on schedules. Yeah. With family, pretty much the same. And then as I guess this is what I need to work on my time for myself.
Okay. Yeah. So when was the last time you did something for yourself?
I guess a couple of days ago I did my hair. I had it fixed. Not fixed. Yeah. I had a haircut and dyed it. I think
Nice.
most recent one. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you did something that made you uncomfortable or scared you?
Uh, like I did it. I initiated it. Mm-hmm.
So,
Not really.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jay, that broke up. Could you repeat that, please?
Do you mean that I initiated it? Like I did it?
No. So, when was the last time that you did something outside of your comfort zone? So, what I mean by that, when was
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah? So, the last time
Yeah,
that you did
out of
something of
comfort zone.
adventurous outside your comfort zone, something that scared you, something
Mm,
that you don't normally do day to day.
Um, I guess it's been a while.
Okay, so that's been too long.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think yeah, so I think this is what I'm going to challenge you to do is start doing
Mhm.
things that challenge you, start doing things that are going to get you uncomfortable. Okay, so
Mm.
look, here's the thing: we can't avoid pain in life. Okay, we can upgrade it.
Mhm.
So like an example would be, okay, oh, I don't have enough money to pay bills. That's a type of pain. But when you get a better job and you have more money, it's like, oh, okay, can I pay for my house? Can I pay the mortgage? Can I pay for my kids to go to college? So it's an upgraded version of pain. And the only way we can do that, the only way we can upgrade pain is by challenging ourselves to actually walk towards that pain and confront it. So what I try to do, I mean, I try to do this personally, and I definitely challenge everybody to do this, is that find a hobby or an activity that is going to challenge you, that is going to push you outside of that comfort zone. Okay, now it doesn't have to be anything crazy, and it doesn't even have to be a hobby. It could just be, okay, I'm going back into education, or I'm going to go for that promotion at work, or I'm going to go for that new job, or it could just be, I'm going to take a cold shower. It could be something along those lines.
Yeah.
So so if you were to think about something, let's say a hobby, something that's going to get you out of the house, interacting with new people, doing something new, what might that look like?
Mm.
Tough questions, eh?
I think. Yeah, I think traveling. I haven't done it in a while. Two
Okay.
places I have not. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so is traveling a regular hobby for you?
No.
Okay. But does it make you nervous? Does it scare you?
Oh, okay. No, not really. Not
I
really.
mean, it's okay. I mean, look, it's
Comfort zone.
okay if you want to go and
Mm.
do more traveling, absolutely go and do it. Absolutely go and do it.
Mm.
In fact, that's something that's always scared me, because I'm quite fearful of flying. But I've done more traveling in the last 18 months than I've done my entire life, and I've loved it. It's been great, but it's been a challenge. It's pushed me outside my comfort zone. So you need to fine, go and do traveling. But what I'm saying is, find something that's going to scare you. Find something that's going to make you uncomfortable.
I know
Yeah.
now actually, and I've started it. I forgot, but the other day I started taking some classes online. So that's in terms of education.
Mm.
Yeah, and yes, I'm nervous, and I think it is out of my comfort zone
Did
to get
so?
back
Did
to
you
that.
did you say taking classes online?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a start, and if that's making you uncomfortable, great. You know,
Mhm.
and it's a challenge. But what I am going to challenge you to do is to start doing stuff where
More.
you have to go and meet new people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now look,
Yeah.
you can look, it could be a dance class, it could be a boxing class, it can be some kind of
Mhm.
gym class or anything like that. You know, it could be, I don't know, photography, anything that you're interested in, you know,
Oh, okay.
or something that you want to take up. Now for me, and I've mentioned this like a billion times on videos and stuff, for me, it was drumming. It was going to learn music. It was going to a music school where I've got to interact with new people. I've got to learn something new. I'm the new guy. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. And 2.5 years later, I'm still playing the drums and I love it. I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, one of the best things I've ever done. One of the, you know, and that came out of a breakup. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to turn into a very amateur musician now. But it's that kind of thing. So it's like, okay, what is that one thing that I've always wanted to do, but I've always been too scared to do it, or I've not had time to do it?
Mm.
Because what this is going to do, see, this is what happens in relationships. Our world becomes smaller, and that's kind of meant to happen because we have to give more time and resources to our partners. But here's the problem, JM, and this is what I fear may have happened, is that maybe you gave too much to this relationship at the detriment of losing yourself. Because what can happen sometimes, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. If I, what can happen a lot of the time, people will say to me like, "Oh, I gave 100% to this relationship," and okay, and that's exactly why it failed. That was your problem. You gave 100% because that's not sustainable. You can't give 100% to a relationship because if you give 100% and then your partner gives 100%, that's 200%. That's not sustainable. Okay. You can only give 50% and your partner gives 50%. That's what you give to a relationship, because the 50% that's left is for you, is for your work, your friends, your family, your hobbies, your personal time, your self development. And if you're not doing that, then you're not growing. If you're not growing, then that relationship is going to fail. 1,000% guaranteed that is going to fail. And also, that's not the person they fell in love with. When someone gets with you, they're getting
Mhm.
with the exciting, funny, adventurous person. But what a lot of people do when they get into relationships, they forget about that side of themselves. They stop growing.
Mm.
And if you stop growing, there's only one outcome. So this is
Mhm.
why you have to go and get uncomfortable. And not only
Yeah.
that, it'll give you like something, like a set of rules to live by. Like no contact is a set of rules. It's like saying, okay,
Mhm.
I don't agree with this decision, but this is my response. I will live by this
Yeah.
code. I will live by this code until I get myself back. I will live by this code until I feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
once I've learned to love myself enough, once I've learned to nurture myself and love other people and nurture them without any expectations of an outcome
Mhm.
or attachment to an outcome, that's when you've leveled up. That's when a good relationship will come and find you, because you're on your journey, on your purpose, and hopefully the person that you meet is on their journey, on their purpose, and you bring it together and you create something even better. But again,
Yeah.
only 50%. So does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense where I'm at right now, and where I was at the relationship. I also gave 100%. You're
Mm.
gonna ask me. Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, cool. Right, so something to think about. Do you do any
Mhm.
journaling or meditation, anything like that?
I do, but I've stopped.
Okay, get back on it, because
Mhm.
I've no doubt that your anxiety is like at 1,000% right now.
Mhm.
It's probably through the roof. Hence why you're on the call today. And I get that.
Mhm.
And sometimes, you just need to unload on someone, just say, hey, look, I don't feel okay right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I want you to start journaling every day. Just look,
Mhm.
5 minutes in the morning. It doesn't have to be Shakespeare. It's just like, okay, I feel
Mm-hmm.
crap. I feel crap today. Yeah, or I feel really good today, or I'm doing this today, that kind of thing. And just, 10 minutes of meditation, you know. So when your anxiety is hitting its peak, just remember it will come down. It will subside. It can't be at its peak all of the time. Now, the human brain just doesn't work like that. It will come down, but there are things that you can do to help it. And there's actually a really good book on anxiety called Dare, Dare, and it's by an author called
Mm-hmm.
Barry. It's by the author Barry McDonough. That's a really good book on anxiety. In fact, it's the best book I've read about anxiety because it's not about managing anxiety. It's actually about getting on top of it, actually curing anxiety to the point where, okay, it's not really a thing anymore. It's not to say anxiety won't rear its head every now and then, but it does give you a set of tools to, if anxiety does come up, then you can very quickly get it under control. So maybe I would suggest maybe start to read some self-help books if you're not doing that already. So I definitely think that would be one of them for you. Also, and I'll tell everybody to read this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. So that's not a lot of people hear the title and think it's about not caring. No, it's about choosing where you care. It's about prioritizing yourself and making sure that you're okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know of that book. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you read it?
No.
Okay. I'd highly suggest it. Obviously, look,
Okay.
I can't make you do it, but these are the kind of things that will help you start to move on. And so a lot of time, look, moving on. Well, let me say, dealing with a breakup, it's not about moving on per se. And I actually said this in one of my latest videos that I did yesterday, I believe. And I said something along the lines of, starting to deal with a relationship is accepting, okay, I feel really bad right now, but I'm going to move forward regardless. I'm going to do this anyway. Because I promise you, if you keep making these baby steps, another 6 months down the line, you'll look back and think, oh, what was I worried about? But also want you to appreciate that 6 years is a long time to be emotionally attached to someone. Yeah.
Mm.
So be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only been 6 months. It's still very fresh. It's still very raw. And it's okay.
Yeah.
You are meant to feel sad right now. And that's okay. And I'm sorry that you're feeling sad, and I hear you. And to validate you, that's okay. You are exactly where you're meant to be. But to repair that wound is asking those kind of questions. Is that, what does a relationship look like for me? Did long distance actually fill that criteria? What if I was the dumper? What if I met someone new and I did the dumping? And that gives you gives you a curiosity about the breakup. So once you can step back and look at it with curiosity, it might give you some answers, and it might, you just might start feeling better. But look, there's 4 billion men out there. You'll find another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find
Yeah.
another one. Yeah, your ex is he's not one in a million. He's one of a million. Yeah. So to most other women, he's nothing special. If you think about it. Yeah, so if you have that kind of mindset about it, and also I'm hoping you're not on any social media anymore, are you?
No.
Okay, there's a bit of hesitation there. Are you sure?
No. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, cool.
I've
Yeah, okay, because that will
cut
drive.
him off.
Yeah, that will drive you crazy. That will drive you crazy. So, and this is why I tell everybody, do not have any information on your ex. Do not be on their social media ever, because it will just drive you crazy. It will drive you absolutely mental, and you don't need that image in your head, because it will make it harder to recover. Okay, Jay. So before we wrap this up today, do you have any last question? Any last questions? Anything you're uncertain about?
No, I think I actually got more than what I wanted to know today.
Okay.
So
Okay,
really
good.
appreciate it. Mhm.
So how do you feel?
Heavy in a sense of I got more perspectives on everything, not even just a relationship, but also myself. But I know that they are the truths. I agree with uh, all of it actually, and they make sense. So I feel more clarity, I guess, and
Mm,
yeah, um,
okay.
yeah, I feel
But
good.
look, okay, I promise you're gonna be okay. I promise you,
Hmm.
you will be fine. You're gonna feel better.
Hmm.
You'll have good days and you'll have
Hmm.
bad days. But always tell yourself that you are enough. Okay, you are enough. You got to do the work on yourself, and that's the truly exciting part is because if you do the work on yourself, yeah, you're gonna grow, you're gonna level up, and you'll be in such a better position when
Yeah,
that new guy comes along, and you can actually say, right, okay, like these are my standards. This is what I want from a guy. Okay, what are you bringing to the table? Outside of sex, what do you bring to the table? That's what you can start telling yourself. Okay, this is what I need. So what happens when you start to level up in that fashion? The potential candidates are far less because you're screening out all the crap that you don't want. So what's left over, right, there's less people, but the quality is a lot higher. So that's what you're looking for. But you can only do that if you invest that energy into yourself, if you invest that into self-development and self-love, validation, worth, and know, not think, know that you are enough and that you are okay. And you know, you are able to attach to another human being, and that's the most normal thing in the world. And you'll do just fine. I promise you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, Jay. Right, so I'm gonna wrap this up now because I do have to get to another call in about 20 minutes.
Sure.
I need to start preparing for that. But look, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I appreciate you letting me record this today so we can share it with the community. And yeah, so I thank you taking the time. I know it's incredibly early in the Philippines. So for everybody listening, Jay actually got up at 4 a.m. To Philippine time to accommodate UK time. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, and look, I do think this was a productive session. I think we've answered a few questions. Maybe come up with some questions that you maybe wasn't thinking about, and that's always a
Yeah.
good thing because you can expand your mind that way. Okay, so yeah, okay, well look, if look you're in the Facebook group, and to everybody that's listening, if you need help from the Facebook group, it's free. Just go to go to Facebook and type in the Love Fix Breakup Recovery and join the community there, and that's how I arranged this with Jay. And yeah, so, and I think it's been very beneficial. So look, I hope you got everything that you needed today from this call. And yeah, I'll just say again, you're going to be okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah,
I really
no,
appreciate this.
no worries. You're welcome. All right, stay in contact in the group, and look,
Will do.
if you need any more help, let me know in the future, and we can set it up.
Hmm. All right.
All right, take it
Thank you
easy. Have
so
a good day.
much.
You're welcome. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye.